Alright, hello there, and welcome to the first edition of My Outdated Kitchen. Basically, what we do is work with what we've got, and what we've got in this case is a center cut boneless pork loin. You can buy this whole pretty much anywhere. You can buy anything, and it gives you a great price per pound as opposed to buying smaller packages of chops or roasts, whatever. And it's super easy to work with. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Take this over to the sink. Cut that bag open, drain it off a bit. Just because pork does usually come in wet. So, alright. Got that out now. Just bring it back across to our cutting board here. Now, with a whole cut like this, you start by taking a look at it. It doesn't have too much fat on here, not an excessive amount by any stretch. Usually if it's more than about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, I'll give it a little trim down before I start working with much else. You've got your loin end of the roast down here, and what I'm going to do is just start by squaring off that end a little bit, and there's some connective tissue and stuff down in there that is not great, not ideal. Alright, so now we've got a good edge there. Now here on this end of the cut, this is what they call a chef's prime, and this is it's a good all-purpose roast because it has actually light and dark meat in it. It's got a little more fat, a little more flavor, and it turns out a little more tender. Basically, this is where the loin muscle and the smaller cap muscle meet, and the cap muscle is used way less, so it turns out to be nice and tender. I'm going to leave this whole to do as just a roast. But what you could also do, if you wanted to turn this into boneless country style ribs, you just want to give it a good slice, about in half, and cut all the way through on that. Then you'll want to take each piece and just make a nice deep score and cut it into segments, and that's what they sell as country style boneless ribs for, $4 and $5 a pound. So we'll just put that over there to get it out of the way. Now we've got the rest of the loin here to work with, and what I'm going to start by doing is just cut some thin chops. And basically, you just want to keep your knife as straight as you can. You'll want a relatively sharp knife. The sharpest you have available makes it easiest. Unfortunately, I don't have a whetstone or anything like that, so I just use a Chef's Choice little 2-stage countertop sharpener, and it'll keep a serviceable edge. It's good enough to do what it needs to do, but it would be easier if I was using something a little sharper. But basically, you just want to cut these chops as easy as you can. Try and keep your knife nice and straight. And so I'm going to do these up probably in 3 packages. This is going to weigh about 3/4 of a pound, maybe a little heavier in each of these 3 packs. That'll be a good serving for our family. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut some butterfly chops, and with that, all you want to do is start like you're going to cut a full chop. Stop just before you hit the bottom side, then come back and finish the cut there. These are a little more showy, a little more surface area, bigger portion size. It's something that once you do it a few times, it's really easy to get the feel for it. just come back and finish on the other side. And then you splay them right out, and this gives you, like I said, a nice big portion. And if you watch your thickness here, they turn out nice and uniform. And the back side looks like that, where you've just about cut it through. So a couple of those, we'll take them and put them over here. And now what I'm going to do with the rest of this here is I'm going to cut a couple of smaller roasts. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball the middle. And these will be nice and quick and easy to throw in the oven. And since they're so small, I mean, we're cooking for a family of 3, they go really, really quick in there. The last thing I'm going to do with this little piece here is I'm gonna butterfly it out for stuffing purposes. This is a little small. Usually you wouldn't bother stuffing something unless it's a little bigger, but this is fun. I haven't done it in a while, so whatever. What you want to do is start at the bottom of the chop, and you want to get your knife into position as flat as you can, and you want to really just ride it probably about even thinner than that. You'll really want to ride it probably about 3/8 of an inch at the most. And what we're going to do is we're going to start our cut on this side, take it clean through, and then when we get just about to the edge, we're going to stop, we're going to unroll, and then we're going to continue cutting. So now this is, obviously you want to be pretty careful. Hopefully I'm not about to have a terrible accident in front of you here. This is actually a little rough because this knife could stand to be longer. But once we get it started, it's pretty easy. Just, you know, try and keep it as straight as you can. Follow that angle. I think I went a little off here. Oh yeah, way off. Like I said, been a while since I've done this. So what we'll do is we'll just try and take it a little thicker on the other side. And then basically, finish that off. Bring it over almost to the edge. And then we're going to cut down into the meat a little further. Take that almost to the edge. And then we'll work the knife back through and basically butterfly this out one more time. Any more than that, I think we'll be pushing it. But now you have, with the exception of that part that I screwed up, a pretty uniform thickness roast. And what you'll do is you'll just kind of lay your stuffing out across, you know, probably 7/8 of it. Then you can roll it in on itself with the stuffing in, toothpicks to hold it in place, and then this will roast for a while at 350 because you want to make sure you get it hot enough all throughout all the stuffing. But I'm going to go ahead and fold this back up so that we can do that. Set it on the pile. This is going to be a scrap. So what I'll do here is actually take this other piece that I was going to use as a roast, and I'm just going to lean up the edge a little bit, take off that heavier fat on the top and bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut this And you see now we're getting into the less desirable cuts at that end. There's the connective tissue, all that. So we'll put it off to the side. Now, as far as this goes, this does have a little more fat than I'd prefer. So we'll just take some of that off nice and quick. Always careful, always focused when you're working with a sharp knife. Over the years, I've learned my lesson there a time or two, and I'm in no hurry to learn any more lessons. All right. Now this is a nice, easy one. We're just going to cut this up into stir-fry strips. You just want to get them pretty close, get them kind of thin, because when you're doing stir-fry, you want to cook fast. Just cut this stuff up a little more. This last one. And we'll just cut each of those in half. Alright, and then what's left is not really that much. It could be processed further, could make some stew meat, or more stir fry. But I mean, it's such a small amount. If I was doing more, I would save it up and I would use that to make sausage. Good way to make sausage is to just pulse your meat in a food processor as opposed to trying to use a tabletop grinder or a KitchenAid mixer with the grinder attachment. That's just silly. But yeah, so that's what's left behind. And to pay retail for all that stuff that's packaged over there, you'd probably be talking $30. So to spend $12, lose out on this little bit and have really 6 meals worth of stuff cut out of that roast, it's pretty boss, I think. So that's it for me, and happy cooking, you sons of bitches.